right, so we're going to start with male reproductive, and we have these two models, these two types of models mostly. So we start with the scrotum, which you can see on this model right here. It's just the skin covering. And then if we turn that inside out, you can see what's inside, the testis and epididymis. Over here you can see the scrotum is this funky colored bit right here with the testis inside. Epididymis sits right on top. And this is a developing testis, and over here I have testis. It's cut open so you can see inside with the epididymis attached. And then I have the spermatic cord. The spermatic cord is this, it's like an electrical wire that's inside of its casing. So this is a cord that has things running through it. Inside, what it has running through it is the vas deferens, which is this gray tube right here. I'm never going to point that out on there. But the vas deferens is going to go into the body, and it's going to be these little guys right here. This is the end of the vas deferens. And on these models, the vas deferens can be seen coming up over the pubic bone, around the bladder, medial to the ureter, and then it enters a structure right here called the seminal vesicle. So white seminal vesicle here. This is a big seminal vesicle right here. From the seminal vesicle, it's going to join into the back side of this gland right here. This is the prostate gland. I can actually remove part of it so you can see there is an ejaculatory duct in here. This is the very last portion of the male reproductive system before it joins in with the urinary system right here. This is a terrible ejaculatory duct, but I point it out because that's how it gets in there. There's a last little gland called a bulbourethral or Cowper's gland, these guys right here. And on this model, it's a very, very terrible representation, basically covered up by the sticker that they labeled it with. That's the Cowper's gland, and it's right before the shaft of the penis begins. So the penis is obviously the structure right here. Some of it is internal. Penis here is right here, and you can see that it forks. This is a root of the penis, so this is internal as well. The prepuce is foreskin, and the foreskin is actually not present on any of the models, but we do have foreskin on one of the cadavers. The glans penis is the bit of the penis that's covered by the foreskin, and it's actually very easy to see on this model right here because it's made of a different type of erectile tissue than the root is. So we have the corpus cavernosum, which are these two bodies, and the corpus spongiosum surrounds the urethra and also the urethral opening, which is why the head of the penis looks the way that it does. Also, we have a dorsal vein on the penis, which you can see right here, running up the dorsal side of the penis. And then we can switch to female reproductive structures. So if we start from the outside, these models are really horrible. They're not anatomically accurate very well. So what's on the outside are the labium majora. That's plural. One is the labium majus. And then if I pull these apart, this is what they're trying to indicate as the labium minus or labium minora. This is more mucous membrane lined, so it generally has a different color than the majora, but also the majora has hair follicles inside of it. Let's see, the clitoris doesn't look like this in real life. I'll show you guys what it looks like in lecture, but that's the clitoris on this model. Very sad, sorry, clitoris. The urethral opening is just posterior to the clitoris. And then you see the vaginal opening right here. And then if you exit the vulva and you go back here, this would be the rectum. That's the anal canal. All right, now if we look at this head on, we have a little ovary right here. And on this model right here, this giant purple thing is the ovary. The fallopian tube curls over it, and you can see the purple fallopian tubes here. And then fimbria are the little fingers right here. They look like fingers. Remember Batman's fingers? Fimbria, and you can see the fimbria, the serration of the fimbria here. And then we have the uterus, and the uterus on here is purple. If I turn it to the inside, you can see how muscular it is. So I don't have a uterus on this one. I have 3 ligaments that you guys will know, and they're really good on this model right here. I have the ovarian ligament, which suspends medially from the ovary to the uterus, and I know that this is where the uterus is because the fimbria, the ends of the fallopian tubes, point away from the uterus. So ovarian ligament, suspensory ligament, mesovarium. This was from lecture. The broad ligament covers everything, and you can see a portion of the broad ligament that's this light blue on the uterus right here. That's broad ligament. From the inside, if I find the end of the uterus, it's this bit right here called the cervix. It's very thick, kind of like the pyloric sphincter when you squeeze that in the cadaver. And from here, I go back up. The very innermost lining of the uterus is called the endometrium. It's very difficult to distinguish on here, but if I point to the very inside of the uterus and I ask you what layer it is, it's going to be endometrium. And lastly, there's vagina right there. And for the breast, here you've found a breast. We have mammary glands, can be seen on the inside. That's these right here. And you have nipple here, and the areola is poor on this model, but you can see areola, the colored portion around the nipple, on our cadaver. And that's it.